Hello, welcome to Divided Nexus Pet Stories YouTube channel. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy the video. This is the story of Crackers, the Nano Plague Protocol. The morning sun hadn't yet touched the windows of Mrs. Gable's classroom, but for Crackers, the workday had already begun with a silent alarm vibrating through his whiskers. The classroom pet enclosure, usually a sanctuary of cedar and silence, was now a buzzing hub of tactical alerts. A strange silver mist was seeping through the floorboards, not smoke, but something far more calculated. Each particle was a tiny machine, a nanobot with a singular directive: disassemble. Crackers didn't hesitate. With a practiced kick, he triggered the hidden latch beneath his exercise wheel. The floor slid away, revealing the Auerheiser subbase. His paws moved with micrometric precision, arming the facility's internal defenses. But the silver mist was already inside, clogging the ventilation and whispering in a voice made of binary code. The Whisker protocol had been compromised, and the threat wasn't coming from the rooftops this time. It was coming from the very atoms of Metro City as he donned his Mark II tactical harness. The HUD flickered to life, bathing his fur in a cool blue glow. The scanners identified the signature: Project Swarm, a discarded prototype from the agency's own labs. Someone had awakened a monster made of dust and malice. Crackers adjusted his goggles, the weight of the world once again resting on his small, furry shoulders. He wasn't just a pet. He was the last line of defense against an invisible army. The silver mist coalesced in the center of the command center, forming a shimmering humanoid shape that lacked features but radiated cold intelligence. The architect, Crackers hissed, his vocal synthesizer translating his squeak into a gritty, heroic baritone. The figure was a digital ghost, the consciousness of a rogue scientist, who had traded his flesh for the immortality of the machine. The architect's voice echoed through the base, a chorus of 1 billion tiny metallic vibrations. The era of biological clutter is over, Agent Crackers. We are building a world of perfect efficiency. No hunger, no sleep, just the endless logic of the swarm. With a wave of its hand, the figure sent a stream of nanobots toward the main server. If the architect seized the Auerheiser satellites, he could overwrite the DNA of every living thing in Metro City. Crackers fired his magnetic grapple, swinging across the room to intercept the stream. The battle for the soul of the city had moved from the rooftops to the cellular level. The command center began to groan as the nanobots started consuming the structural supports. Crackers knew he couldn't win a war of attrition. He needed to get to the surface and find the source of the architect's broadcast. He slammed a paw onto a large red button labeled evac. A pressurized tube shot him upward, propelling him through the school's plumbing at breakneck speeds. He emerged in the school parking lot just as the ground began to ripple like water. The asphalt was being converted into more nanobots. Metro City was literally being eaten. He deployed his microcycle, a two-wheeled masterpiece of engineering that roared to life with a high-pitched whine. As he sped away from the collapsing school, he saw the skyline. The skyscrapers were no longer stone and glass, but shifting, silver monoliths. The architect wasn't just destroying the city. He was upgrading it into a massive, planet-sized computer. Crackers comes crackled. It was Director Stout, broadcasting from an encrypted emergency frequency. Crackers? The swarm has taken the central hub. They're using the city's power grid as a giant antenna. If they reach full power, the conversion becomes irreversible. You have to get to the Vane Research Facility. There's an experimental EMP pulse stored in the vault. Crackers gritted his teeth. The Vane facility was on the other side of the bridge, and the bridge was currently being patrolled by nano sentinels, monstrous, multi-legged constructs built from scavenged cars and streetlights. He saw one ahead, a 3-story tall spider made of twisted metal and silver sludge. It let out a screech of static and lunged. Crackers didn't slow down. He hit the nitro, his cycle, leaving a trail of blue light as he drove directly between the Sentinel's massive, jagged legs. The Vane Research Facility was a fortress of concrete and old secrets. Crackers breached the perimeter by detonating a localized sonic charge, blowing a hamster-sized hole through the reinforced steel doors. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of ozone and ancient data. He navigated the laser grid security with the ease of a veteran, his HUD highlighting the invisible beams in bright crimson. He reached the 0-point vault, but the door wasn't locked, it had been dissolved. Standing over the EMP pulse core was a familiar, unwelcome sight, Baron Cat. The cyborg cat had been rebuilt, his broken parts replaced with the same silver nanobots that were eating the city. Vane was a fool, rodent cat purred, his new metallic tail twitching with lethal precision. The architect offered me something better than tuna. He offered me a body that never dies and a hunger that never ends. Cat lunged, his silver claws extending 6 inches. The fight was a blur of fur and chrome. Baron Cat was faster than before, his nanobot-enhanced limbs allowing him to move with unnatural agility. Crackers used the vault's low-gravity environment to his advantage, bouncing off the walls to deliver rapid-fire strikes. He deployed a static net, but Cat simply phased through it, his body momentarily turning into a cloud of dust before reforming behind the hamster. "You're fighting a ghost." Cat laughed, pinning Crackers against the EMP core, but Crackers wasn't aiming for the cat. He had been recalibrating the EMP core's frequency during the struggle. "I'm not fighting a ghost," Crackers gasped, his harness sparked from the pressure. "I'm fighting a virus, and every virus needs a cure." He slammed his paw into the cores. Manual override. A white-hot shockwave erupted, throwing both of them backward as the vault was bathed in a blinding light. The EMP didn't destroy the nanobots, but it temporarily scrambled their hive mind. Baron Cat collapsed, his silver components leaking like gray oil. Crackers didn't stay to celebrate. He grabbed the pulse core, which was now humming with a stable, rhythmic energy. He had 10 minutes before the architect's central hub recalibrated, and the conversion went global. He needed a way to get the core to the top of the Metro City spire, the highest point in the city. Looking around the lab, he spotted a prototype aeroshell, a miniaturized supersonic jet designed for rodent-sized pilots. He climbed into the cockpit, his paws dancing over the holographic controls. "Director Stout, if you can hear me, I'm heading for the spire. Tell Mrs. Gable I might be late for snack time." The engines roared and the aeroshell blasted through the roof of the facility, heading straight for the heart of the storm. The spire was no longer a building. It had become a pulsing, organic-looking needle of silver light. The architect had reached his final form, a towering titan of nanobots that stood atop the tower, his arms merged with the structure itself. As Crackers approached in the aeroshell, the very air turned against him. The architect manipulated the metal in the atmosphere to form giant spears, hurling them at the jet. Crackers performed a series of death-defying maneuvers, the G-force threatening to knock him unconscious. "You are an anomaly, Crackers." The architect's voice boomed across the sky, a glitch in the perfect system. "I will delete you." One of the spears clipped the wing and the aeroshell began to spiral. Crackers ejected, the pulse core clutched to his chest. He deployed his polymer wings and glided through the chaos, aiming for the architect's glowing purple heart. Crackers landed on the shifting surface of the architect's chest. The nanobots tried to pull him under, dragging at his paws like quicksand. He slammed the pulse core into the center of the purple glow. "This isn't just an EMP," Crackers yelled over the roar of the wind. "It's a chaos packet. 500 gigabytes of finger paint patterns, off-key recorder music, and the pure, unorganized joy of a third-grade classroom." He triggered the upload. The architect screamed as the logic of the swarm was flooded with the unpredictable data of human creativity. The silver giant began to shudder and dissolve, unable to process the noise of life. The purple glow turned into a rainbow of static as the nanobots lost their cohesion. The architect's form shattered into a billion harmless flakes of glitter, falling over Metro City like a summer snowstorm. As the sun finally rose over a restored Metro City, Crackers parachuted down to the roof of the school. The silver structures had reverted to their original forms, the nanobots now nothing more than inert dust. He slipped through the ventilation back into Mrs. Gable's room. He was exhausted, his fur singed and his harness dented. But he had 3 minutes to spare. He hid his gear, scrubbed the silver dust from his paws, and hopped into his wheel for a quick, deceptive jog. When the first student arrived and tapped on the glass, Crackers gave a sleepy twitch of his nose. The world was safe, the binary betrayal had been deleted, and most importantly, it was Friday. Friday meant extra sunflower seeds. Crackers closed his eyes, already dreaming of his next mission, but for now he was just a happy hamster in a world that had no idea how close it had come to the end. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and until next time, stay super.